All right, welcome Hard Knocks. KK the Destroyer here coming at you, bringing you your Hard Knocks news of Week 13. And with me, we have special guest Slick Willie.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Right on. Then we got Penalty,
Yo.
as well as Coach Mikey.
Sweet,
Welcome,
sweet Jesus.
welcome, boys. I think this should be pretty exciting with the four-player podcast. So excited. We're having really good momentum with this season, I would say. I mean, games are getting done. I think we were down to 5 games after 24 hours or something. I mean, we're advancing tomorrow. Is that right?
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
I
we
think
could.
we only have 2 left.
Yeah, we could be advancing tonight even. So I think everybody's doing a great job on that. I think what we'll go ahead and start off with is everybody's fan favorite Penn's Power Rankings. So, Penn, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah. I think this was one of the easier weeks to do power rankings. Like everything's kind of filling out, going off of records and head-to-heads. A lot of people in the top 10 have played each other, so it kind of makes it a little bit easier to rank them. But no bubbles this time. So
No
at
bubbles.
10, I have Sai. Oh, wait, no. Sai's crossed out because he just lost about an hour ago.
Loser.
All right. So bye-bye, Sai. All right. So at 10, we have the Titans with Danny. 8-4. He had an early loss to Sai week 1, which, I mean, the first 4 or 5 weeks, you're getting used to your team. So not that doesn't, there's no importance on that, but you keep that in the back of your mind.
Right.
And then other than that, he lost to the Bills, the Bucks, and then the best team in the game, the Jags. So
I think there's an argument to be made for the Jags being one of the best right now.
so yeah, at 10 I got Danny.
Right, yeah.
9 is the guy who I keep wanting to put in my power rankings every single week, and he finally made it so I could again. It's Johnny with
Johnny.
the Falcons. Yep, these losses were early to the Eagles and the Titans. Then he lost to the Texans by a touchdown, and then he lost to me, the Bucks.
Right.
So those are all 4 teams in the top 10 with winning records. So I feel like he definitely deserves to be in the top 10.
For sure. He's got a reputation for one. And then
Yeah.
who did he just play?
Let me see. He played me 2 weeks ago.
I could look it up. No big deal. I was just curious because I didn't know if he beat like a really
did-
bad team like the 1-9-1 Lions that I lost to or something. Like
He beat the Saints the last week. Oh yeah,
the Saints.
Okay, the Redskins beat the Lions, and then the Lions. Okay. Anyway,
Right.
Bengals
All
at 8.
Only thing I was gonna say was like that should have been my spot, except for apparently the Lions just decides to show up when he wants to play me. And I messaged him after the game. I'm like, dude, are you just tanking against everybody except for me? And
I would do that if I was in his position.
yeah. He said, well, you are a division rival, and I didn't realize that I needed to start tanking week 1 so I'd have the first pick, is what he was saying. So he said he's going to be competing down the stretch, and I said, hey, as long as you compete against the Packers, the Vikings, that's all I care about. So if he brings his A game, that's good. So you may proceed.
Okay. Well, I'll play him, so hopefully he tanks on that game. So at 8, I have the Bengals. They're 9-3. Only losses are to Slick with the Seahawks, the Bills, top 5 team, and then the Jags. So, I mean, again, those are teams not only with winning records, but top teams.
Yeah,
So,
he's
and that's
still
fresh
he's
baked
still a
buns.
pretender in my eyes.
I mean, he's using that. He keeps telling his team that every week.
He does. I see it.
He's fueling them. At 7, all right, I may catch some hate for this. I may catch some hate, but records have to count for something, Like when Stanford upset number 2 USC, Stanford didn't just hop up to number 2, okay? At 7, we have the Jags.
Mhm.
Now, okay, he is 8-4. He just beat a great, incredible, fantastic Bucks team. And then he also beat the Titans. He beat the Bengals. and he started out 0-3, but since is 8-1. And I went to the one game he lost, which was against the Texans, undefeated Texans. That was a 7-3 game going in the fourth quarter. So
Wow.
it's not like he got blown out, whatever. Like that was a close game. So I mean, he's riding the wave. He's doing really good.
Yeah.
So, and I hate putting him just like when I was kind of ranking Jern a little bit lower. But again, with an 8-4 record, it's hard to put him over teams with one loss.
Mhm.
So, but I mean, he's probably moved up. If you were to rank him week 3 to now, he's probably moved up more than anybody in the entire league
Oh,
in
by
rankings.
far.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see the playoffs too, and where he may play the Texans again.
Oof.
Uh, so at 6, I have the Bills. His only loss, he had a forced loss to the Browns, which makes
Yep.
his record look a little less good. And then it was a 14-point loss to Jern, and then a 1-point loss to the Jets. But again, that was week 1.
Right.
So it's hard to say he's not doing well now, just because he's getting used to the Bills with Josh Allen, who knows where the ball's going to go when he throws it. Um, so yeah, at 6 with the Bills, and at 5 we have our very own Slick with the Seahawks.
Woo.
Forced loss to Johnny, and then I beat him with the Bucks, and then I didn't see the game, but 1-point loss to Jern, which apparently came down to a last-second field goal. Yeah.
You got something to say about that, Slick?
The it was a crazy game, but I ended up lagging, so I was like,
Oh, of course.
this,
Of course it did.
no, well, it's been raining down here, but I ended up missing it by like a couple inches.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that's what she
But
said.
but I ended up throwing like a 50-yard bomb, like 4th and 13 to Tyler Lockett, who caught it in like 2 defenders, and Jordan was going crazy.
Madden giveth and Madden taketh away.
Basically, that's how it went. Yeah,
Dang.
but it was a good
Either,
game.
either way, holding Jern to 17 points that's an accomplishment by itself. So
We ended up losing Miles Sanders first play of the game, so that put him behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's right.
So you did
Yeah.
keep that game close. So like, what was it that you were able to do? Was it just him losing Miles Sanders early? Because he's still got a decent backup. Like, who's his backup running back?
Corey Grant with like 96 feet, like
Yeah. So I feel like he'd still be able to do work there, but your defense was just able to slow his run game down, or how'd you approach it?
kinda. I mean, the key behind it is he has a really good offensive line with abilities.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it doesn't matter who he puts back there. But he has a good user whenever he's running it. But I don't even know how I didn't, because the only thing I could say was I had 2 fast outside linebackers with 90+ speed.
Right.
So anytime he tried to get out on the edge, they were always there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, fast linebackers.
Yeah.
All right, so then we go, because I mean we all know number 1 is the Jags, so no, but number 1 is obviously, we know who that is. But 2, 3, and 4, you got the Bucks with 1 loss, Eagles with 1 loss, Packers with 1 loss, and so that's where it's kind of hard. And even though the Eagles and Packers have played, the Bucks haven't played either of those two, so that's kind of hard to rank on the top of it. But I mean, generally, what it came down to is the Packers and Eagles are demolishing people. So then you use their head-to-head as a way to kind of see who's on top. And so then I have the Bucks and me at 4, with that 1 loss being to the 8-4 Jags
Right.
by 7 points. And then at 3, we have the Eagles with Jern. Again, it's a head-to-head. Both of them are killing people. But because the Packers beat the Eagles, then Jern has to stay at number 3.
Yeah, that makes
And then
sense.
number 2 of the Packers, Johnny Sins. I mean, if you look at his schedule, you look at how much he's beaten people by, besides the Lions, who, I mean, who knows what the heck the Lions are going to do. You got to throw out those division games, I guess.
Right.
But other than that, I mean, he's putting up points at ease. I think he has the
Right.
best offense, or the highest scoring offense in the league.
Yeah, he's up there.
He's up there. I mean, the Eagles have 396 points for, and Packers is sitting at 358. The biggest difference between those two teams is Jern just keeping people from scoring points. I mean, 116, the Packers with 200, but still, they're putting up a lot of points.
Yeah. I mean, it's like neck and neck. So
Yeah, it really, I just sorted by it. So yeah, Eagles have the number one points for, Packers at 2, Bills at 3, you're at 4. So, but it makes sense.
yeah. And then the last one, obviously, I guess it's the Texans. All right, undefeated. His defense is just. I mean, I don't know what he's doing on defense, but people can't move the ball. Like
Yeah,
straight up cannot move the ball.
91 points for. Holy cow.
I mean, that is absurd. He did. Jabbar came within 2 points of beating him. Not sure, but it's just been kind of a crazy week with
Yeah,
with the results. So I don't
no
know,
doubt.
something in the water, but yeah, that. I mean, he doesn't have Deshaun Watson though, so that's going to hurt him offensively, but still giving up 19 points.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I would have to say, I mean, he's number one in points against with 91, Eagles at 116. So it almost doesn't matter who his quarterback or running back is. He's going to be able to just shut down people's offenses, and he's good enough to score. So I think he wins no matter what.
yeah, no, like I said, these power rankings are a little bit easier. Uh, I mean, he's just dominating everybody. So and has the undefeated record.
So Slick, what do you have to say about the power rankings there? You agree?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like you said, it's one of the more easier weeks to do it,
Mm-hmm.
just because of how everything's unfolding.
Yeah. Like I said, a lot of head-to-heads too.
Yeah,
That make it easier.
it will definitely be interesting coming down the stretch. So from here, what I would say is, Slick, you had a couple topics to discuss. You want to go ahead and pick up right after the power rankings with those?
Yeah, yeah. So I wanted to talk about Hard Knocks' best offense and defense. Um, but if you just look at the standings, you can already just tell
Right.
Jern number one in offense, and he does it in an array of ways. I mean, well, if you look at Sanders' numbers, you might just think, oh, he's just running all the time, and that's how he's scoring. But he does it in the passing game as well. Like he's not too exotic, but not too boring either.
Mm-hmm.
Like he knows how to move the ball, whether it's opposed to Ertz or if you're in a cover. He knows when you're in a cover three. He knows exactly what to do, or in a cover four, cover two, cover one, or anything like that. So
You think he
um,
just recognizes pre-snap the defenses pretty easily, and then has really good post-snap reads?
he he know he'll look at what you're running before he hikes the ball, and like
Mm-hmm.
you know how you run into those people where they kind of just predetermine what they're gonna do instead of looking what's out there.
Right.
He's the other way around. He looks and then determines what he's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
You add that knowledge with the kind of offensive line he has. It's, I mean, you can pretty much do whatever you want as long as you have those two.
So
Um,
I guess what I would ask, since it is kind of obvious who's doing really well on offense, of the people that you've watched and played against, and this question is for everybody, is who has probably the most like unique offense, like something that's not necessarily conventionally run, but is unique.
Ooh.
um,
uh, Texans. The fact that his passing is ridiculous and he only goes to run. I know we had that, the week where he didn't run much, but no, I don't want to make a joke about it.
He's
In this,
unique
I
because
Right.
he
want to
never
give,
runs the
I
ball.
want to give, I want to give him his props here because, I mean, he literally, if you didn't have a rule where you didn't have to run, he would pass it 50 times a game and not
Mm-hmm.
run once, and you would not stop it. So, I mean, we try to keep it sim, but I think his offense is it's very unstoppable.
Yeah, it's funny you say it too because I was actually going to say like the hardest person I've had to play defense against where I have to mix up man and zones and stuff has been air flight with the Texans in this league, with the Rams in the other. Like he's the one where I know if he thinks I'm running cover two, I have to maybe man up or put the corner in the deep quarter,
Mm-hmm.
or change up what I'm doing because he will just carve you up, and so that kind of shows you how good of an offensive player he is.
and even at that, he'll know what you're in, and he'll know how to beat it. Like it's not one of those things. Oh, I think he's in cover three. Maybe I should try this. No,
Mm-hmm.
he knows you're in cover three, and he knows every route combo in the
Right.
street and how to beat it.
Yeah, I
It's
would definitely have to agree with that. Like the games that I've played against him, they're super frustrating because it's not just that he can recognize your defense pre-snap and post-snap. It's I swear he's really good at knowing when you've called contains, when you haven't called contains, and so he knows if he has time in the pocket, and then he knows if he's got to get rid of the ball quickly, like, and that is super frustrating to play against, and I just drives me crazy.
Well, not to mention if you use pass protection correctly, contains are useless, and I'm sure he knows that too.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure he does. Um, what about defense? I mean,
defense. He we're talking a lot about his defense. I mean his offense,
uh,
like his mind, but his defense is wild because if you look, Clowney has I believe 18 or 19 sacks, and he has no ability whatsoever. No,
yeah,
and it's crazy because he's not even like he doesn't have the most sacks in the league. Fletcher Cox does with like 27 or 29,
Oh,
20
yeah,
in
power
that range.
specialist,
Power
triple,
specialist.
triple
He's
team
getting
him, and he just bursts through.
burst through, but he's getting Clowney with 19 sacks, no ability whatsoever, and that's just wild. Like, and
I'm gonna.
he
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
no go ahead, and he's only holding people 91 points all year.
hmm
Yeah, I mean he between both leagues he has had the benefit of having Texans D line and Rams D line. But so I want to give a shout out to my boy who I think will be representing the NFC. If you look at Yearn, all right, look at his defense. He played the Bears. He played UKK.
hmm
Only gave up three. He
yeah,
played Jabbar, right? Since Jabbar's been trying, gave up three. Slick, I mean, you're top five in the power rankings, 16 points. He beat the Cowboys. Bagel, 16 points he gave up to the Vikings. Falcons, who's number nine in the power rankings, he only gave up 7 points.
hmm
So I mean, his defense. I mean, we talked about his offense a little bit, but I think his defense is awesome as well.
And I think honorable mention and Penn has a man crush on this user. Um,
Johnny,
JP Johnny's
I'm telling you,
for
I
the
was gonna
past
say that.
since I started playing in any league with JP, he's one of the one guys that I hate playing against because he's so defensive minded. Like, and he's good. Like his user is usually everywhere, but like his defense is always tough to move the ball on. And it doesn't matter what Madden it is. It's just he's so good on that side of the football.
Yeah, it's disciplined. You can't. There's some people you can just, have coverage beaters and bomb it and just score easy points or stretch and they don't know how to, do run fits. But he knows how to do all that. And so you have to be patient and slowly move the ball.
yeah. I would agree with all those sentiments. It's kind of a bummer because it does seem like we're just giving Manny all these props. I mean, we give Jern those and then Johnny those as well.
Yeah, I'll give him. Jax had a good defense. I'll
Did
give
that?
his first user pick was. I knew exactly who he was using. I was throwing a 5 yard out, and I thought there's no way he's going to position himself to get the pick, and I mean he was able to.
Hey, Penn, week 16 we got a Jags versus Falcons matchup.
Ooh, that'll be a good one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we can move. Wait, was there one more topic that you had for us, Slick?
No, I think
Those were
that
the
was
two.
it. Yeah.
Okay, so we can kind of jump over to the injury report. And so we were looking at this because a few teams have had quite a few injuries, specifically the Raiders. That's CSIF. I know he had a real big rash of them, so that was a little tough. So I thought we'd kind of look at some of these, and we have some notable injuries that I think are important to how the remainder of the season is going to go. And so initially, I wanted to jump off on the Raiders, and he lost his wide receiver Ruggs, his rookie, for I think at least 3 to 4 weeks. And so, looking at his last 4 games, he's gone 3-1, and that's been since he had Ruggs back. And in that 4 week stretch, he's got 330 yards and 2 TDs. So I think having most of his weapons back is helping him, and maybe those early injuries really cost him. Has anybody here played against the Raiders? I know I have.
No, I
I
have
played
not.
him. I played him, and you commented.
Oh yeah, I
It was
commentated
earlier in
that
the
game.
season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I've played him, and he's very run heavy for sure. But I was able to go ahead and beat him. But that could very well be because of that string of injuries that he had. So I'm glad to see he's been able to turn it around. I don't know that he's going to be able to get into a playoff spot here, because what is his record at this point?
Oh, I think he
Raiders.
might actually have a shot. That might be
Oh,
the
is that
worst division in the
that's the
league.
worst division? Okay, yeah. So there we go. We'll get to that. Then we can jump on over to the Cowboys. They had lost Zeke. Let's see. Zeke is out with an arm fracture for 2 weeks longer. I think he's been out for 4. So she's had to kind of live on Cam Akers for the last 4 weeks. And I mean, he's doing well. I mean, he had one game with 137 yards and 2 TDs. So that was a solid game. 90 yards in one game, 66 in another, 83 in another. But since they lost Zeke, they lost to a really good Vikings team, and then lost by 6 to the Pats, and only lost by 6 while throwing 7 interceptions. So Jules playing close and had that Zeke injury. I mean, how do you guys feel about the
Yeah,
Cowboys?
I was trying to see. I don't know if Zeke had. I mean, losing it that good of a running back is going to hurt you, like 100%. The amount of tackles you'd break,
Right.
or just. I mean, they made him kind of slow, but yeah, it's going to hurt you. I don't know if he has armbar too, but if he has any
No,
one of
Inside Guru and Leapfrog.
leapfrog,
Like,
wow. Well, even so, inside guru, it's going to hurt not having that. I don't know how much of a part of Jules' offense he is, but any player that's like the focal point is going to hurt you.
Yeah, I would think so. So that's the Cowboys' injuries, and then we can get into the Jags, who I just happened to look at. They just lost Telvin Smith for 23 weeks on a broken tibia. So
Ouch.
that's going to be kind of brutal, but I think he's got his other outside linebacker. What is his name? Chisholm?
Jason?
Jason?
oh, the LSU product, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he's going to be the guy that's kind of taken Telvin Smith's spot, I guess. I talked to the Jags
That's
coach today and
that's not
asked him
that
about it.
bad of a replacement. Jesus.
Right? And so there's not really a
I
lot to talk about for his injuries. Go ahead, Mikey.
No, I was gonna say I think he got hurt. I think Smith got hurt a while back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's what he. And Jags is messaging the group saying that right now. Yep.
Yeah, he's been out at the start of the season. Jesus, that's brutal. So it hasn't really even been an issue. But I just wanted to pose the question: Are the Jags the hottest team in the league? And I don't mean that just to be funny or anything. Like he's got 8 wins in 9 games, and he's beaten the Bucks and he's beaten the Titans. So what do you think, Slick?
I'm looking at his schedule. Bucks, Titans, Colts. I mean, he's definitely riding that wave. He had a close game with Texans, 17-3 only. I mean,
Yeah,
he's beating teams way bigger than 17-3. I mean, he's definitely riding the wave, and he's scoring. Well, not against Texans, but everybody else he's scoring.
right.
Um,
And the thing is, I believe he's doing it with a rookie quarterback, Gardner Minshew, rookie running back. I don't even know his first name, but I think it's Gibson. He's pretty fast. He's got like 96 speed. I mean, with that, he's doing it with that offense. That is pretty impressive. He was my pretender, but I gotta put where Mikey was wrong
Right.
into that. I gotta give him his props.
I mean,
Yeah.
from what I saw again in the Bucks Jags game, it's at least 90% running because he has Fournette with a superstar ability, and then he has Gibson, his change of pace back where he
Oh,
just runs.
dang,
But
I
he was
didn't even
breaking
realize
up.
Gibson was that fast. Jesus. No
Yeah,
wonder.
yeah, yeah. So he had the two-headed monster running back. So he's straight up smash mouth in Jacksonville basically on offense and defense. I mean, they're loaded. Josh Allen, Miles Jack, the rookie from LSU, C.J. Anderson, like they got pieces. So it's
Hmm.
definitely a good defense.
Yeah, they got a fast defense.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering about that because I felt like with the Jags losing Ramsey, I thought maybe they would just really didn't have a whole lot going for them. But now that you guys kind of talk out what their defense looks like, they definitely still have a lot of really good pieces.
And he
Um,
traded for Desmond King because Desmond King
yeah,
is on there.
and Desmond King is a stud. Like when I had him on the Charger, he was really good.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Oh
he's their
man.
best. He's his best player right now overall wise. 91 overall, Desmond King.
So looking at their next four games, they only have one opponent with a, above 500 record. So they're sitting at 8-4. I'm thinking that they're going to finish 11-5. I mean, what's the over under on them finishing? You know, just running the table 4 games out and going 12-4.
I mean, with how he's playing, that's not unreasonable at all.
Right.
I mean, he's shown like he can beat and compete with the top guys. So Johnny's gonna be a really tough game.
Yeah,
Um,
Johnny's the one that he has on his schedule, so that will be a tough game for him. But I mean,
yeah,
you were a tough game for him by all accounts.
I mean, yeah.
What happened in that game?
uh, oof. I mean, the quickest way to lose games is turnovers, and I think I had four and he had zero.
Mm,
But I mean, he played really good. Like this, I know people want like some crazy thing that happened that altered the game, but I just throughout, he did better in the red zone. He had, like I said, had more turnovers, and then he was able. I thought I had good run D, and he ran all over it. Uh,
jeez.
so,
Yeah, that's some,
And
that's saying something.
that's the story of
but
Madden 20. Basically, it's passers when they get turnovers, it costs them more as if a runner would, and runners don't get that many turnovers. Like that, he's controlling the clock and he's playing good defense. And if he's doing those two really well, and you're giving him turnovers, it's
Hmm.
gonna be a long day.
yeah, 100%. And so I mean, I look back, there's a few things I'm gonna change and change up. But yeah, he played really well. I don't know if you want a full game breakdown or not, but
Right now, we can move on. I just had to ask. Then we got the Packers, who got Dawson Knox out for a week with a collarbone. He's been out for 4 weeks, so it looked like it was a 5-week injury. But he had that Jay Sternberger in at tight end as a replacement. I think he's fast enough, and it doesn't look like he's missed a step having Knox out. Like Sternberger had 122 yards in a game, 46, 111, and 62. So he's not losing the production there, and so he's doing fine. And if that's his only injury, I mean, he's not really hurting much elsewhere. So he's
And the
got
crazy thing is he's moved on from Devontae Adams and that mega trade him and 49ers had earlier in the year. Like
right. He's got the Bears, which is myself, and then the Vikings left on his schedule. So he's really got those 2 games, and I think he may play the Lions, who just beat me. So that's not saying a whole lot, but he does have several divisional games coming. But he looks like another one that, I don't know that he's going to have another loss coming this way. I'd like to believe that I can beat him and give him a loss, but it's not really going to impact the standings whatsoever.
yeah, both him and Eagles, I could see winning out.
Yeah. Then we got the let's see, the Redskins. They lost Reuben Foster for 2 weeks. Not a lot that's going to help the Redskins at this point. I think they're looking at, trying to get a good draft pick. So Smokey is going to look to the offseason to increase the value of his team. And then we get to the Seahawks. So Slick, we got Josh Gordon, 4 weeks with an Achilles. Is that
he
going to
was
be?
he was he
Oh, go
was
ahead.
injured before the season even started. He had yet to play it down.
Okay.
For me, right now it's DK, Tyler, um, the ad Cats Lockett, and Philip Dorsett, all speed guys that I use.
I was going through some of your stats, and I definitely saw Metcalf getting his. And then, if it's not DK Metcalf 1 week, it's Tyler Lockett the other. Is there even a spot for Gordon when he comes back?
Probably not. He's getting older and 30 or 29 or 30 you're a wide receiver, the speed goes down drastically, and this
Hmm.
most likely not.
So you have losses what to the Falcons, the Bucks, and the Eagles?
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, I know at one point Penn was saying that you were having a lot of issues with your offensive line. Is that something you think you've addressed?
I wouldn't say a dress. It's more like a band-aid. I ended up putting my left guard at right tackle and my right tackle at left guard just to because the pass blocking and the pass blocking finesse seemed a little better.
Hmm.
But even with that, it's if it's you won't see it in the stat category as I'm getting sacked a lot, but I'm getting hurried up a lot and pressured a lot. It's
Yeah.
this O line is horrific.
I
Yeah.
wondered like
Freaking crazy.
if you wound up just deciding to try to get the ball out quicker and maybe run a little bit more and
I try to do both.
try to do both. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I tried every little thing.
no deep developing
I do
routes
a
for you.
lot. Well, I do. Well, what I ended up doing, what started doing more is, um, I do a lot of double teaming and IDing the mic on defensive linemen, and
Hmm.
that kind of helps you out a little bit. And I do a lot of slide protections, and that's toned it down a bit.
Yeah. I've had mixed reviews on the double team. Like sometimes you'll double team a guy, and then one other guy just comes free, and it's just like, well, that sucked. That wasn't worth it.
Yeah, you
And
double
I'll
team the
kind of
wrong guy.
explain that. I'll explain how that works, the slide protection, double teaming a guy, in our channel. But just quick FYI, if you're having trouble getting any kind of protection, um, so say you're in a shotgun formation and your running back is lined up to your right, you slide the protection to the left, double team um, the D tackle, say in the four down set, the D
Hmm.
tackle, then you ID the defensive end that's going to come in. What happens when you do that is the running back will go for like a block on the D end. He'll top block them basically,
Hmm.
and they'll flip over. And if you move a little bit to the right, you may get an extra second or two, and
Right.
that might just buy you enough to get your uh your different combos open and stuff like that. So I
I've done
started
a
doing that.
I've done a version of that because I did watch a lot of streams of some of the higher level users and saw some of that happening. I didn't notice the double team of the DT. I just noticed what I was doing, which, like I said, was mimicking them, was sliding protection away from the halfback, blocking the halfback, and IDing the mic on the halfback side. Seemed to alleviate some of it, but yeah, I'd never known to double team the DT. So that's
It's not going to completely fix it, but it should give you enough time to allow you to do what you plan to do pre-snap.
right. No, that's a great one. I think yeah, if you want to write that up and post it in the strategy column, that'd be huge. Because I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I didn't know that, so I knew a version of it, but that's it.
Yeah, and if you have a tight end on the line of scrimmage on the opposite side of the halfback and you put them
Hmm.
on like a delay fade or something, you can pretty much pick up any blitz in the game, 7 man, whatever,
Yeah.
by doing that.
Nice. All good tips. So moving on, we got the Steelers. Let's see. The Steelers lost Devonta Freeman for 3 weeks with a dislocated elbow. Steelers, help me out, guys. Who is that user? Is that
I
I
Murray?
Murray. I
Murray? There we
Murray.
go. Perfect. Uh, is Orleans Darkwa the future, Penn? What do you think?
No.
No.
Absolutely not. I
I
think
looked.
he's doing just fine.
Yeah, I looked at the RBs on the roster, and there's not a lot there to be seen. So I think he's just going to try to ride out Devonta Freeman's injury for 3 weeks and you know get him back out there. So not really a whole lot going on in the Steelers injury report there. Texans, this is the probably the biggest injury of the league. Deshaun Watson out 7 weeks, and that's a huge blow. I mean, Mikey, you've played the Texans. Did you play? Did you knock out Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, yeah, I put him out of his misery.
Yeah.
I put, I put him. I laid a pretty big hit stick. I believe the guy barely touched him, and he fell over and started crying. I felt bad. I mean, it wasn't even a hit stick. It was just, I
Yeah.
like to say it's karma.
Right.
Wow.
Take that.
Whoa.
And that was when? That was like, was that 2 weeks ago or last week?
2 weeks. I think. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was last week.
Right.
No, yeah, it was either last week or the week before.
I
But
think
it
it was
happened.
last week. Yeah.
Yeah, and it happened early. And like I said, his passing game was just so phenomenal. Old man, I think he has Big Ben.
He has Big
Came
Ben.
in, came in, and was like 9 of 11 when he came in, and just, I mean, it was, his passing game. The only thing that changed was the scrambling with Watson.
Right.
He'll snap the ball with Watson. He'll take his time. The rare few times that I did cover his receivers down the field, he would just take off with Watson. With Big Ben, it was almost like he changed up what kind of routes he wanted to run. He knew he had to get the ball off quicker. So he kind of switched up his passing style, but he still kept passing, and it didn't change. It's still the same result.
Yeah. So I looked at the two games that he's been without him. So the one was with you, and that's where Big Ben comes in, goes 11 to 16 for 3 TDs. So he dots you up with Big Ben. And then for some reason, I know in chat he's like, "Oh, here comes Cardale Jones. He's going to be the second coming." And he goes 4 of 14 with one touchdown and 3 INTs. And I have to ask, like, Slick, why do you think he's starting Cardale Jones and not Big Ben?
Because he's cocky.
Because he's cocky.
I guess he wants a little bit more mobility. That's the only thing. I mean, he's a 56 overall QB. There's no way he's going to keep that up, especially during the playoffs. Either that or he trusts his defense, which,
I mean, he's got reason to trust his defense.
yeah,
Who
yeah.
did
But
he play with Cardell? Who did he play?
what was it? Jabbar? Yeah, the
Yeah,
Okay.
Patriots.
Cardell
Patriots.
versus Stidham. So, I can
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
understand why he would try him out.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, but Jabbar's a wild card too, man. Sometimes he'll play good.
And
Yeah.
then sometimes he'll knee the ball in the third quarter.
That's right. Oh man, I'm gonna have to quote that one. I like that. So I guess Penn, what's the future look like for the Texans? I mean, he's not gonna have Watson for 7 weeks. Is that what I said? And
Yeah.
we are week. What week are we? 14, 13?
13.
13. So he's got 4 more weeks
May
without
get
him.
May get him back for the Super Bowl.
He might make him back for the Super Bowl. So they have the Broncos, the Titans, the Bucks, and then the Titans again in their next 4 games. Um, I guess the real question is, could they miss out on a bye?
Oof. The Bills and Bengals are going to be tough without a mobile QB, but I mean, if anyone in the league is good enough to still win, it's him.
I mean, he may also get a bye in the playoffs as well. So he's only at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's gonna really need to be on point
Yeah.
those two games.
Yeah.
But if all he really needs to score is probably 7 to 10 points, and he probably got it in the bag because his defense is that good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not to mention looking at the schedule, he can lose to both of them, and then win the other two games and still get a bye.
Yes.
So
I mean,
I think for not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I threw up.
99% sure.
That was one of the polls I threw up, KK, and it looks like we got 5 users saying he will not run the table for the rest of the season, and only one that thinks he will.
Yeah, I would definitely put my vote on that he won't. I mean, I'm looking at the Bucks and saying, Penn's going to beat him with a bad QB back there. And then the Titans, Danny's been playing really solid. So I think he could easily drop one. I mean, I think at the worst, he's going 14-2. And I don't want to dismiss Willie of the Broncos, but I mean, they are sub 500, but he's beaten the Packers. So, I think he could
And he
probably.
has a positive points scored versus points against too.
Yeah, so, it's pretty easy to see them dropping 2 games, and then it just really depends on what the AFC does for their 1 and 2 seeds. So real quick though, what was the quote that you had there, Penn, early? I forget. Was it about the Texans?
Early?
Well, just a moment ago when I said, "Oh my God, I got to quote that."
Oh, it's about Jabbar saying sometimes he
Jabbar.
plays good and sometimes he kneels the ball in the third
Oh,
quarter.
that's right. Okay, hold on. Oh, Jesus. Okay, Mikey, you're gonna have to do that because I got to keep going on this segment and get it finished up. So can you quote that for me? Because that is classic, classic
All right.
Jabbar. And then we got freshly baked buns with the Bengals. He's got Callaway out 3 weeks, but kind of looking at it, I don't know that it's really an issue. I don't know that he really used Callaway much, but he was on the report. I mean, there's not really a whole lot to say about it. Would the
No,
party
I don't
agree?
think he didn't touch the field. I think he picked them up
Yeah.
and just held on to them.
And then to wrap it up, we got the Bills with the Josh Norman injury, who I don't even think matters at this point. 4 out of his last 5 games, he's only got 1 loss, and that was a forced win because he couldn't schedule. So I don't think the Norman injury makes a difference for the Bills. And then the Broncos lost Bouye, but that's still only a 1 week injury, so it's not a huge deal. But that would wrap up the injury report. So,
Oh, what about my boy Godwin, huh?
that's right. I skipped
Come
over
on.
that. My bad.
Jeez.
Oh,
I need an
jeez.
excuse, all right? I need to
Okay,
just pop that bad boy out whenever I lose.
that's right. So, Chris Godwin, only a 9 week injury, not a big deal. So, what's your excuse?
Best wide receiver? No. I think Deshaun Watson is more impactful as far as injuries go, but Godwin has a route technician, and that with Brady having hot route master, it was really really easy to get him open.
Yeah.
Because against man, you just can't guard him because his cuts are too quick, and against zone, he would get in position to beat zones quicker. So
Hmm.
like deep posts and stuff, as far as cover 3, cover 4 beaters, he would get in position to beat him quicker. So
That is
that's my
big.
excuse. I'm gonna whip
Um,
that bad boy out whenever I need to.
so I was looking at your roster, and so who's the guy that you're filling in with?
Oh, Scotty Miller.
5'9" Scotty Miller.
I assumed as much because he's super fast, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Like 94 or something like that.
not
yeah.
much agility. I don't know, think he can jump very good, but he's got a lot of heart. I don't know. I think he's 99 heart, so he
Are
probably
99
you
should
are
probably
you
heart.
do
putting him in the slot, or are you putting that bad boy on the perimeter?
it. Actually, he's perimeter unless I go 3 wide receivers, then I'll put him in the slot. And then I got some 60, high 60 overall receiver, I think. So I don't know. It's a bummer. Makes me sad.
Oh, it's funny, but yeah, 9 weeks. That's brutal. I mean, he's not going to see playoffs.
No.
So that I guess now that would round out the injury report. I actually did not intentionally leave him off the list. That was just bad reporting by me. So we'll move on. Mikey, you got the wild card roundup for us, do you not?
Yes, I do.
Bring the
So
pain.
very intriguing next few weeks we got here to end the season. We'll start with the AFC. We got three close teams doing very well. We got the Bengals at 9-3, so I'm going to leave them out as the division leader so far. So we have these 3 teams fighting for the last spot in the AFC wild card. We got the Jags 8-4. We got the Titans 8-4, and we got the Browns who just lost to the Steelers. So now they're at 7-5. So we got those 3 teams. One of those teams, only one is going to make it. Uh, Looking at the Jags schedule, they face Chargers, Raiders, Falcons, and then the Colts. Titans schedule, Raiders, Texans, Saints, Texans. So they face Texans twice in the next
Yikes.
4 games. And then you got the Browns with Bengals, Cards, Ravens, Bengals.
Wow. I mean,
Yeah,
I
so
would I would guess I would say maybe revisit each team with their remaining schedule. We can kind of just quickly touch on those because hearing them in sequence made it kind of tough to recall. So give us our first guy.
yeah, so we'll go with the Jags. They got
Okay.
Chargers, Raiders, Falcons, and Colts.
And in that matchup, I would go ahead and lean to say, like, at worst, they lose one game, and that's to Johnny.
So we
Yeah, I'd
got them
agree.
finishing off 11-5.
Right.
Okay.
So then,
All right.
does
We
anybody
have
disagree with
Titans.
that?
Oh,
No, I could see, and I could also see him beating Johnny too. So
Yeah, I mean, it's entirely possible. So then who would be next?
we got Danny with the Titans. He's 8-4. He's got Raiders, Texans, Saints, Texans.
Yeah, and
He's
that's
out.
gonna yeah.
He's
That's
out.
what that sounds like, right? That sounds like he punched his ticket home, right?
Texans twice in must-win games.
Whew. He'll be barbecuing, watching playoffs, and I will be at his house eating some sick ass
Contrary to
barbecue.
what Texans is telling everybody, I do not see Cardell Jones starting a down in the playoffs. He's going with Big Ben. Don't let him fool you guys.
All right, and then so it looks like if we give him the Raiders and the Saints as wins, he'll finish off 10-4. Yeah, so we got the Jags ahead of him. Then we move over to the Browns. He's got Bengals, Cards, Ravens, Bengals.
Bengals, Cards, Ravens,
Ooh,
Bengals.
Bengals
Jesus.
twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whew. I mean, wow. And actually, I mean, from the sounds of it, doesn't man? I mean, it's going to be down to Danny and Coach Cy. Like that's one of those guys is not going to make it.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
probably say Jags for sure, and then goes between the Titans and Browns.
Yeah. And I mean, anything can happen these next 4 weeks. I mean, the Steelers are 6-6. I mean, they're only that what one game back from the Browns. Jets and Patriots both are at 6-6. Um, so it really is kind of a toss up. But I would have to say it's definitely the Jags, and then my vote would probably be to Danny. I'd like to think
Yeah, I
he's going to
think
make
Danny.
playoffs. What about you, Slick?
I think Cy. Um, I his offense is nothing to go crazy over, but his defense is always good, and I think that'll carry him in. Um,
So yeah, so looking at Bengals, he's got to face Cy twice, and then he's got Patriots and Dolphins too, because he's at 9-3. So if he drops three of those games or two of those games, he's down to five losses. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be a
it's
battle
gonna
for
be
sure.
it's a tough stretch of games, and to win it basically.
And so I had one storyline kind of written down, and that's the obvious, which is the AF or AFC West going to send a sub 500 team to the playoffs?
Oh,
Wow. I just saw the records. five
Right?
six, 5-6, 4-7, 2-9 with the Chiefs. Oh my goodness.
Dar's gonna get in there with a 6-10 record. That's what he's gonna.
I
Dar,
mean,
that's so great.
I still think Broncos wins it, but
Now,
oof.
Raiders has not played Week 13 yet. He plays the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs have two wins, so he could be at 6-6, taking the lead. You know, we mentioned the injuries that he had to battle early on. Maybe he's turning the corner. But he does have to face Chiefs Week 13. Then he's got Danny with the Titans, Jags, and then he finishes off with Chargers and Broncos.
Yeah. I say Broncos go with that 500
They
record.
make it 8-8.
Yeah. They bring a little bit of pride to the AFC West. A little bit.
Oh man. All right, well take us over to the NFC. Show us what that looks like.
Yeah, so this is brutal. These teams are very tough to talk about. They're all very underachieving. We'll start off with the Bears. I mean, what is
Damn.
going on over there in Chicago?
Dude,
I
I
mean,
don't
you
know.
got
Like, I play the guys that give 110% with losing records. That's all I know. Like, they're like, oh, I'm going to play the commish. I am coming at him. They roll over for everybody else, but not for me.
so we got the Bears 7-5. We got the Vikings 6-6, which I believe, Penn, correct me if I'm wrong. We both picked the Vikings to make it over the Bears, correct? Last
Yep,
week or 2 weeks ago. All right,
we
good.
did.
Thanks, guys.
Um, no pressure,
Tough
KK.
love.
So we got Bears 7-5, Vikings 6-6, and we got Niners 6-6.
Okay, hold up
Um,
1 second. Slick, you're the tiebreaker. Well, you're not really a tiebreaker. I just want to know that somebody's in my corner. So, Vikings or Bears, Slick, and just know
I
you
can't.
may or may not get
maybe
invited back.
maybe he should hear
Well,
with
I'm looking at the
the coming
schedule.
up schedule. Yeah, exactly.
I'm looking at the schedule. He has Lions, Chargers, Packers, and Bears.
Oh my.
KK has yeah. KK has Jules, Packers, Chiefs, and Vikings. That Week 17 matchup is going to be game of the week, and but I still think KK pulls it out.
Woo!
Um, because two
Praise the
word
Lord.
Khalil Mack. That's all you need. That is all you need.
Man,
Drop
I'll
10
tell
in the
you.
coverage.
Yeah, I'll tell you what though, guys. The difference between Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa, it seems to be night and day. Like I Khalil Mack has been somewhat of a non-factor this season. I mean, I'm not going to say at times he hasn't done stuff, but it seemed like Joey Bosa was murdering people. And then I got Mack, and it's either the users that I'm playing are just aware, not aware, but they're getting the ball out fast enough, or they're double teaming him, or they're doing their slide protections and getting him blocked. And I'm just not getting much pressure at all. Like he's not getting into the zone hardly ever.
Let's see. Khalil Mack only has edge threat, and I'm pretty sure Bosa had like pass rush lead and edge. This year's all about abilities, 100%. And I'm pretty sure Bosa had better abilities than Mack. So maybe
Mm.
that's what's hurting him. I thought Mack had power specialist, maybe not.
I mean, I
Or
went
pass
into
rush
my
lead.
formation subs and made some adjustments because I was like always having to look at coverage and going, well, I want to make sure he's rushing. It's not really a benefit in coverage. So I made a lot of adjustments. In rushing three sets, I made sure he was playing DE, and if I wanted him on the edge, I had him on the edge in those other sets, and I just don't know if it's made a huge difference, but
Yeah, no, it's
the
Yeah.
abilities. I just checked it. So Bosa has edge threat and finesse specialist, and Khalil Mack only has edge threat. So makes
So
a huge
so
difference.
I will say this. Finishing off on we got the Niners. They're 6-6 too, but
hmm
I would think they have a much harder schedule. They face the Saints, but then they faced Falcons, the Rams, and then the Seahawks.
Falcons, Rams, and Seahawks. Yeah, that's going to be tough. I mean, Sid played me pretty tough.
So I mean, honestly, in my opinion, Vegas odds would have the Bears entering the final week at 9-6. Going
hmm
beating the Cowboys, losing to the Packers, beating the Chiefs, put them at 9-6, and then Vegas would have the Vikings beating the Lions, beating the Chargers, losing to the Packers, going in at 8-7. But since the Vikings beat the Bears earlier in the season,
They did.
you're looking at a 9-6 team going up against an 8-7, and if the Viking wins, they get the tiebreaker.
Right.
So we'd be looking at a playoff game in Week 17.
Yeah, for sure. I knew that was another team that I basically overlooked. They were 0-3 when I met him, and I'm like, oh, this isn't going to be a big deal. And since then, he's rattled off a bunch of wins, so he's doing the right things. I'm really looking forward to these next two games for myself, the Packers and the Bears. And I still got to play Jewel this week after advance.
I
I'm
mean, after what
hoping
happened with
we
the
can get that
Lions,
game.
right?
I know, man. I'm telling you, dude. Like she's gonna play out of her mind, and she might just beat me. Like
Yeah.
I'm struggling. That's all I can say.
Yeah, so that's what I got here for the playoff bubble. We'll keep an eye out on these games. If Bears, Vikings, Niners, Jags, Titans, and Browns. If you guys can stream your games, we'll hop on, do some commentating because it should be pretty exciting here down the stretch.
Yeah, it sounds good to me. We're gonna have to definitely make sure we get playoff games commentated. That could be kind of tough. I know playoff games get played at unusual times sometimes. So, Slick, what's it gonna take to get you on a commentary?
It really just depends when the games are broadcasted. If I'm not at work, but as long as I'm not working, I'm down to join
Yeah.
in the commentary.
So one of the other questions I have, well, I guess actually I don't. I think we kind of addressed them for the most part. We got the Ravens. Are they the most overhyped team coming in to the early part of the season with their 3-0 win and then now being sub 500? Like it could be worse. The Bears are bad. They lose to 0-3 teams and 1-win teams. The Bears are bad. Okay, but we're still above 500, and the Ravens can't say that. So are they the most overhyped team?
Oh man. I mean, he just plays reckless, like straight up.
He does.
So I mean, who knows what he's gonna do that week? Um, I think his games are fun to watch. Besides his freaking angle, he streams his games
His
at.
camera angle is unwatchable. Um,
So yeah, overhyped for that reason. Until he changes his camera angle, he's overhyped.
That is hilarious. So what say you, Mikey?
I'm gonna go with yeah. I mean, the way he rattled off those quick wins and he started talking a lot. I believe he lost, you know, quite a few games in a row, right?
Yeah, he dropped several. I forget what the stats were. It's like 4 or 5 or something like that.
Yeah, one, two, three, four. Yeah, he lost 5 games in a row. Although they were all good teams, though. So actually, I'm gonna take that back. He lost. He lost to the Browns. He lost to the Bengals, to the Seahawks, to the Bengals, to the Texans. So you're talking about all teams that are in the top 5-ish or to top 8-ish power ranking wise.
Yeah.
So I mean, he just had a. It looks like to me he just had a brutal schedule. I remember talking about that when you made the hot take of him not making the playoffs. I remember
Nailed it.
specifically talking about the schedule though. I mean, and he has the Bills to play and the Browns and the Steelers. So he just has a brutal schedule. So I'm gonna lay off the overhyped. I'm just gonna say it's mainly schedule.
Yeah. So I guess that was one thing that Mikey had brought up was who's underachieving right now? Like, Penn, do you have any take on
I'll stay
that? Like,
quiet.
perhaps with their yeah, you better stay quiet. Perhaps user and team combined, or just team?
Mm, shoot, not off the top of my head. I guess where is it? The Vikings. I know you see it. I mean, he got to NFC Championship in our
I saw that in the
in
original
our
Hard
league.
Knocks. Yep.
The Vikings have a pretty darn good team with their defense, and then let's say they got Thielen, and then I think a good rookie running back or good rookie receiver, and then they have Dalvin Cook at running back. And so I think he's a good user with a good team. So I'm not sure where the 6 losses come from.
I think that's a pretty good evaluation of that. What about you, Slick?
Underachieve. I mean, Vikings are up there. I just can't fathom going 2-9 with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh
Right.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
That just blew my mind. And it's not even. I know their defense is bad, 313 points
Yeah.
against, but they're only scoring 155.
Yeah. Frank B is not doing the Lord's work with the Chiefs.
yeah. Actually no, I totally agree with Slee. Like that's crazy. And then with the speed they have on offense, and the Mahomes is just a glitch. I mean, you can be sprinting backwards and throw an accurate pass 80 yards down the field. Like, yeah, it's crazy that he has that bad of a record.
Right. If I was to pick a team, and it's probably just because I got to play with them in the original Hard Knocks, is it's Dar with the Chargers. That team is so stacked, and for him to be 4-7 with that talent out there, I think that's an underachieving team. And Dar can play.
Yeah, he's one of the guys you root for too every time he plays.
Absolutely. So, Mikey, what about you? Who's underachieving? You got an idea?
I'm gonna go with the. I mean, I don't know this guy very well. I think he's new to the league, but I would say the Saints are probably the best roster overall, right? Um, Defense, offense. I mean, they got good running back, good receiver, good quarterback, and their defense is all over the place. But yeah, so I'd probably pick the Saints,
Hmm.
but I'd be leaning on switching that to the Colts.
You think?
I don't know what's going on there in Indy. My I gotta buy new controllers. They're kind of flaring up on me. Sometimes I'll press the circle button, he'll pass to like triangle. Things like that happen. So I don't know, guys. I gotta figure it out which
Right.
controller to use. You know what I mean?
Throwing yourself on your own sword. Gee.
And then who would you say is overachieving with the talent that they have on their team? Like if
Jags. I mean, I feel like that's the only answer.
I feel like that would be the answer too. Like I I just didn't expect them to be doing that well with that team. I didn't think they had that much talent to work with. I'm gonna scroll through here so see what we got. Um, Overachieving. That's an interesting one. Slick, do you have anything for me?
Overachieving.
It has to be the Jags, man. It has to be Jags or Bills.
What about the Titans? Like Danny's got to be overachieving with that team, right? There's not that much on that team.
I mean, he made the playoffs a few times with the Redskins and HK.
Well, I
You
know,
know,
but like, I mean, I'm looking at just the team that he's got to work with. I mean, they got Derrick Henry, and what else?
I don't know. I feel like he has a solid defense with the Titans. He's got AJ Brown though, and since we restarted, AJ Brown's already his overall was a lot better.
Hmm.
But yeah, you
Ken,
could go with either one.
you got anything? I guess you said Jags, so
Yeah, I think Jags. Um, I mean, it's doesn't matter what you have around him. I know he runs the ball a lot, but Minshew at quarterback, like
yeah,
85 throw power, terrible accuracies, like nothing. So to still have not only a winning record but be doing that good with them, I think is impressive. They got a pretty good defense too, but no players that are like Aaron Donald or
right.
Bosa. You just send them and then play base coverage and hope for the best. Like he's
Hey, Jags just brought
yeah.
this up in chat. The
Hmm.
Titans have Donald actually.
Yeah, he traded for Aaron
That
Donald.
is
Yeah.
true. That was that collusion trade that happened.
Straight collude, and the commission's approved it.
I know it's
Shame,
so gross.
shame.
It's icky. But yeah, I think that is probably the consensus. I would say the Jags are definitely overachieving with what they have on the roster, and I think Danny would be a pretty close second. I mean, granted, he has Donald now, but he didn't have Donald
And
for
Derrick Henry too.
yeah, he didn't have Donald for the first what 5 or 6 weeks. So I
Yeah.
guess anybody else
I mean,
have a topic to bring up?
it's gotta be Jags. I want to get honorable mention is definitely Bills. I want to give it to Bengals. I really do because that roster is just dreadful. But I was just looking at his schedule and it's not even. I don't think I've seen him beat maybe one 500 team in the 49ers,
Mm-hmm.
but he has ones against uh, Steelers, Cardinals, Ravens. Ravens on his losing streak, mind you.
Right.
He beat Sib, who's trying to rebuild that team. Ravens, Raiders, Steelers, and Jets. So I mean, I want to give it to him, but he hasn't played anybody, and that's
Yeah.
the only thing holding him back.
Yeah, that was really the only thing that gave me pause was to call him a pretender was that he hasn't really played that many people.
But in the other league, he was actually a pretty good user with the team he had.
Oh, for sure.
So that's the only thing that's it's not a day with him.
Yeah, I felt like I was looking at the Bills as well as a possibility, but I felt like I mean, they have a few different good pieces on their team with Tre'Davious White and what Edmonds, the middle linebacker, and they have Micah Hyde too. So I mean, defensively they have pieces, and then offensively, they might struggle a bit there. I mean, I can't really think of anybody. Josh Allen's just got that cannon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Tre'Davious
yeah.
White too.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess that's a pretty viable candidate. But yeah, so anybody else have another topic they want to bring up, or are we wrapping this thing up?
Well, you'll be on for an hour, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
it goes by. That's for sure. Well, like Slick, thanks for coming on. I appreciate having a new voice on the podcast. I know at one time I was trying to get users on that hadn't been on, so I'm glad you're on. Try to get
heck
another
yeah.
guest coming in. Any shade you want to throw at anybody in particular?
In particular, no, I don't like to throw shade. I
Oh,
just can.
yeah, there is something. All right,
What's that?
it was my interview question for Slick. Slick, if you face the Eagles in the playoff, I need a bold prediction. What's gonna happen in that game? Who's gonna win? and by how much if you end up getting a rematch with the Eagles?
I mean, I don't know any competitor that would say they would lose. I would never say I'm going to go in a playoff game in a rematch and say, "Oh, yeah, for sure." I'm going to go humble and say Eagles is going to beat me every time. Anytime you go in a game like that, you're going to lose anyway, but
Right.
definitely going to win.
All right.
Uh,
I got to go in with that mentality. If I don't, I'm handing him the game.
so bold prediction then, like, are you gonna do it through the air? Or are you gonna do it in the run game?
I got to do whatever it takes to win.
That's a
I'm a,
PR answer.
That is
but
absolutely that's like
I am a passer at heart because I love Russell Wilson and his abilities. Escape artist and dashing deadeye, and if you don't know what that is, you aren't living. Um, um, in Russ, we trust.
nice.
He's going, yeah.
So I guess real briefly, what we should do before we close this out is look at the polls. Um, so what was the biggest upset of Week 13? Was it the Lions over the Bears or the Jags over the Bucks? And it looks like the Bucks game is the biggest upset with only five people voting for Bucks and one for the Lions. Myself would have voted for the Bucks game as well at 6. I think it was obvious. I mean, I don't think anybody really expected Penn to lose that game, and that's
I
not
mean,
taking
he had a
anything
winning
away
record.
from.
He was on a hot streak.
No, I know it's not taking anything away from the Jags. He's playing out of his mind, but you've won 4 straight Super Bowls. I mean, nobody
I,
expected you to lose that game.
yeah, I think about. I mean, Madden in general, but especially this year is like you're never gonna win. You're not gonna win every game, like 100%. You can't, and
Well,
so
tell
all
that
you
to the
can do is.
Texans. They're 12-0.
I mean, all you can do is increase like your chances of winning, I guess, with how good you play and your schemes and everything like that. So, yeah, I don't expect to win every game.
Yeah. And then the second poll was, will the Texans run the table? And that is a resounding no
Ooh.
for
I,
6
I'm
downvotes.
gonna I'm gonna go on a limb here. I do say he runs the table. I don't know why, but I feel he will run the table, and that's because he doesn't play the Eagles in his schedule.
Oh,
Nice. So, Slick, you want to finish this off and give us your feedback on that question?
Upset of the week, definitely Bucks versus Jags. I knew it was gonna be an interesting game right off the jump when he got a fumble on a kickoff return. Usually when that's happening right at the beginning of a Madden game, you already know that's gonna be a long game. Add that with him being able to run at will, tough to win Madden games when that happens. Definitely upset of the past week. Texans, don't listen to anything he writes in that chat. Big Ben will lead him to the Super Bowl, and he will run the table.
He's running the table. Nice. I like it. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, guys. Great job, and we'll look forward to see how the rest of the season goes. So we'll catch you later.
All right,
Take it
take
easy.
it
yeah.
easy, guys.